everyone. Welcome back to X-Rays, where we take a look at industry evolution through the eyes of those creating change and innovation. I'll be your host, Rosalie, for this online show where we'll discuss and learn the latest, most exciting developments from industry leaders, pioneers, and innovators who are shaping the future. Today, we will be speaking with Dr. Leigh Richardson, the CEO and founder of the Brain Performance Institute. Leigh has over 30 years of experience in studying human behavior. She is an expert on brain health and has worked to raise awareness on the significance of taking the right steps regarding your brain to improve your overall health. At the Brain Performance Institute, Leigh aims to unlock the potential of the human brain through new research and innovative programs, focusing on areas such as enhanced cognitive functioning and anxiety reduction. So without further ado, let us welcome our guest. Leigh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So glad to have you on our show. I would love it if you could just start by telling us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to focus on brain health and performance.
Well, it goes back a long way. I got into brain health as a result. I had a call to action. One of my sons was hit by a car, and we got through that until he got to fifth grade. And I came home from work, and he said, "Mom, my brain is broken." I understood that feeling. I had been in ICU for over a week with a traumatic brain injury. And when he said that, I knew what that feeling was. So he explained to me he had done his own research, which is amazing for a fifth grader. He had done his own research and he had explained to me what was broken in his brain. And that really inspired me. I did talk to the school counselor, and of course, medication was suggested. And that's not where I wanted to start. I wanted to learn more. And I wanted to learn more for myself. And I found a pioneer neurologist in Dallas, and he was doing neurofeedback, of which I had no idea what that was. But I got involved, my son got involved, and I got involved. And when I saw the difference that you can make in human behavior and human performance by calming that brain down, getting that brain in a more organized state, I I had found a new passion. And I made up my mind. Working with that neurologist, I did an internship with him. I got board certified in 2005. And really, it was my desire to learn everything I could about the brain. And what I learned working with him is that the brain and the body, that's one unit. You can't separate the two. And that's one of the things that I still see is we make a separation. If there's something wrong with your heart, you go to a cardiologist as quickly as possible. If there's something wrong with your brain, if you can't get up, if you can't get out of bed, if you're so fatigued, if you're overwhelmed with anxiety, what do? You have a nasty conversation with yourself. Power through, let's go, make it happen. And that there are so many more things that we can do. I left him in 2009 and I started the Brain Performance Center and focused on more behavioral health, particularly anxiety, depression, ADHD, and autism. And at that point in time, I made a decision. I am no longer going to use the language mental health. There's too much negative stigma associated with it. And I started talking brain health. And the Brain Performance Center really led me to the Brain Performance Institute. During the pandemic, a lot of the clients that were coming to the center owned small to mid-sized businesses. And they came to me and they said, we've got to bring this into our business. Is there any way that you can do that? And the Brain Performance Institute emerged. And it emerged really to help leaders understand the role that the brain plays in decision making and agility and adaptability and resilience. And then when we went through the pandemic, we really had to refocus and create psychological safety for people. And we're still coming out of that. One of the big issues we face today is we're telling people they're going to have to return to work 4 or 5 days a week. And that's going to be a real challenge for some.
Well, it sounds like it comes from, this inspiration comes from a very personal place. So, you've built something very truly unique. And, we've heard a bit about what motivated you to start this journey. So, how has your personal and professional experience shaped the mission of this institute?
It absolutely has shaped it. And it started with my son and with myself. I have actually been in ICU twice with brain injury, and I've seen physical trauma, emotional trauma, stress, and of course, genetics. That's what puts that brain in a dysregulated state. But you can train the brain how to get back into a regulated state. And when you see people, come into that you work with, I work with one lady and I thought she really had it together. From an operational standpoint, she did, but she wanted to increase her profitability. And she was so focused on her physical health. She was at the gym every day. She was doing triathlons. She had it going on, but she was not that aware of her brain health. And she came in, she said, I want to increase the size of my company. I've made all the operational changes that I need to make. And I really thought that I would see a change in my profit, but I haven't. And we focused on her brain health and building her brain capital. And she started using words like cognitive agility, and which it's so rewarding to see. She increased her profits 34% that year. And when you see that change in a person on a personal and a professional level, it's extremely rewarding.
I can absolutely imagine. So, what has the response been like from those who've engaged with the program? Are there any
Very
other success stories that you could share with us?
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether it's as simple as I've had senior level executives come in and they've got anxiety so bad. It's so overwhelming. And it gets to the point I'm like, you know what? You're going to get fired if you don't go to work. You think you're a very senior person and that won't happen to you, but you've got to show up. And when you see that light bulb go off, yeah, I do, and you help them understand where that anxiety is coming through from and the impact it's having on their personal life and their professional life, and give them the confidence, or they create the confidence through coaching and through counseling. And you just see how it's a game changer. It changes people's life. And it can also change the life of an organization. We're still in the after effects of the pandemic, where it takes time to come out of that. And there are a lot of people that are still very reluctant, that don't want to go back to work. They they don't understand, I can do my job just as well, but from home as I can from a desk. But they don't understand that there's more to the culture and the engagement and participating and being part of something that really does make it makes a business sustainable, and it makes it a lot more profitable. And everybody can share in that.
Well, I mean, it's really rewarding, must be so rewarding to hear about, the impact that your work is having. And brain performance itself, brain performance optimization is a growing field. How does your approach to cognitive enhancement and brain health stand out from other solutions currently available?
Well, I think of brain optimization as brain capital, and I own the intellectual property around brain capital because it's all about getting your brain into a regulated state. And every organization has a different definition of brain capital. The American Neurology Association has one, the American Medical Association has one, but the World Health Organization is one that I am in alignment with. And that is brain capital focuses on not only the cognitive, but the emotional and the social aspects of how the brain works and the dynamics involved in that. And when we look at it, I looked in my past and I did my dissertation, got a great idea for my dissertation from the pandemic. Those business owners I worked with, I thought, they can't make decisions. And honestly, neither could I. So that formed my dissertation, the lived experience of organizational leaders in crisis decision making. And I looked at things like situational awareness and critical thinking. And I realized that's building the cognitive, the social, and the emotional reserves. That's what brain capital is all about. And it's exciting to see how that's moving forward in the future. Last week, I was at a meeting in DC and it was on brain health. And I was amazed that several senators made a point to take a break in their day and to step into the Kennedy caucus room and talk about brain health and how brain health is the future, because it absolutely is. Whether you approach it from a senior standpoint, the fastest growing population we have is 85 and above. Whether you approach it from that standpoint or the youngest population, it is our future. I was amazed to learn that last year, 1,158 bills, health-related bills, were constructed. 15 of those made it to the president's desk. 3 of those were passed, and those 3 bills related to brain health.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting to hear. And speaking of the future, what exciting projects or developments are on the horizon for the Brain Performance Institute? What can we expect to see in terms of growth or innovation?
Well, the brain capital framework is evolving. And, the framework really provides the vision. It provides the strategy foundation that programs can be built on. And my first one of those to come out is the return to office. That is a shift in society. That's a shift in what people want and what they need. And I think that when we look forward, if you look at what we're doing in academia, and if you look at, I mentioned what we're doing in the government and what we're doing in organizations, we're making a commitment to brain health. It's it's amazing to me to think about what organizations like AARP are doing. They're embracing brain health in the workplace. They're creating a sense of community around that. And many other organizations are recognizing the importance as well. We all go to work. We spend so much of our time at work. And to be able to go there and to feel valued and to feel like we're seen and we're heard, and for our brain health to be valued, how you show up, how you're able to engage, how you're able to participate. Those are becoming factors that are a lot more important than they were when we were in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today, Leigh. It was incredible to hear all about the work that you're doing regarding brain health, and it seems incredibly innovative and very, very important. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners at X-Rays, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Rosalie, and I'll see you next time.